Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking cellular. What's that got to do with DIY? Maybe you're at home, you have no bars, you bought your service, you've been struggling with it for a year or two, and you have to actually go outside the house to take a phone call or make a phone call because you keep dropping signal. And you absolutely hate the provider, but you're tied to a dang contract. Well, there's solutions to that, and we're going to be talking about that. In a lot of cases, you just bought the wrong service, because what most people don't understand is, well, my buddy has Verizon, they absolutely love it, so we go with it. Or my buddy has AT&T and we go with it. Would you believe not every provider covers an area? In other words, you might have Verizon with one bar and you think it sucks, but then we find out based upon the tower that Verizon doesn't cover your area. You see, you should have gone with crap mobile. Well, that's what I used to call it. T-Mobile is no longer crap mobile. T-Mobile, let me assure you, has stepped up to the game, and they're competing with the big boys, and they opened up a can of whoop butt. Okay? They are making some major changes, and hallelujah for them. Now, we also going to be talking about cell service plans. If you're looking for data, would you actually believe you can get AT&T and T-Mobile for as little as $70 a month? That is unlimited, unthrottled data. You heard me correct. Unlimited, unthrottled data. I'm on T-Mobile right now behind me in the camper. And believe it or not, 400 gig in 1 week. But so far, no cap. I love it. It rocks. Once we determine the provider that's best for us, then we need to talk devices. Is it a cell phone? Is it a hotspot? Is it a Wi-Fi booster? Wait a minute. Wi-Fi booster, if you're contemplating that, stop right now, because they're not what they're cracked up to be in. And you're going to find out why. Then we're going to talk about a hotspot on steroids. Huh? You heard me right. A hotspot on steroids. That's what I'm calling it, because it blew me away. I was a skeptic, but I went on and made the purchase. Now I also met another gentleman where I'm at here, and he has a similar system, and he's got the same result as I have, and I am rocking it. 150 megs down, anywhere from 25 to 50 megs up. Before, right here's a picture of it. 12 megs down, 2 kilobits up. All right, you know what? Let's just get into this. So let's do this thing. Welcome to Let's DIY My Home, where like-minded people are working together to tackle their project. Everything from a complicated remodel to as simple as repairing a door. That's letsdiyMyhome.com. We'll see you there. All right, welcome back, everybody. Wow. Oh, let's get to the right screen here. One of the things I'm going to point out here real quick, and you'll notice when we go to cellmapper.net, my towers are laid out just as I'm showing you right here. I have one tower that I've gone through in Google Maps, put pins in where the towers are at. That way I could configure or determine the miles from me to the tower. Obviously, I'm in wooded background, so not happening. I've got to get through this to even get to the cell tower, and this explains a lot of my data issues. Now, here we go. I am sitting here in the center point of this triangle, and you'll notice to the north of me, this one other red dot. I am 2 miles from it. The other one, I'm 5.84 miles. I forgot to put a red dot there. Sorry about that. Those are the distance, so they're not really bad. But because of the elevation, because of my surroundings, I'm stuck with one bar on my cell phone, period. I get 12 meg down and whopping kilobits up. Absolutely useless. So what can we actually do about this situation? That's what we're going to do right now. In order to fix the problem, we need to determine what service is going to help cover where we are at, okay? Because if we can't get coverage, then we need to look at external antennas and try to go out further in order to pull that signal into us. And these are all the things we're going to cover. So let's get started with this right now. Let's go over to cellmappers.net. Right here. You're going to be introduced to a clear screen just as I am. And right now I already have the screen set up. I did a little bit of pre-configurations. So it's set up about where I'm at, which is over by Micanopy, Gainesville, Florida. That's where I'm at temporarily. Home, if you don't know, is Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm a snowbird this year. Now, in order to get the cell towers to show up on this map, cellmappers.net, there's two different ways you can do this. One, obviously we can go select the menu on your left, select the provider, and then type in whichever we think it is. But I want to show you something because it gets me every time. If I go to, I think it's AT&T, I get two options, United States of America and Mobility United States of America. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to figure out which one it is, and some of them have even more. When you select this, I already know it's Mobility because I've done this video about 6 times trying to get this right. All of a sudden now your screen is filled with cellular towers. That's what we're looking at. On each one of these top, I guess there's 3 6 digits, that's the ID number to the tower. Underneath that, you'll see band 2, 12, 14, 20, 30, and 66. That's the bands that thing is broadcasting. Now, for my case, I am running Verizon. And here's what the problem is going to be. Let me bounce over to Verizon. I still get the same load of towers. So I think we share towers, but they have different antennas and different frequencies. When we search Verizon over here, you're going to see, like just happened, basically the interstate over here is what's being highlighted. Again, hit that tower, it's the interstate. So I click the next tower down. Again, that's a small piece of interstate. How about this tower over here? There we go. Now we're broadcasting out, except I'm over here. So these cellular services are broadcasting to the east of me. Absolutely useless. So, because I'm not anywhere near that. Any tower I check around me, I believe there was one. Let me see. Maybe this one up north was it. Let's see what's over here. Nope, that one ain't coming near me either. How about this one? Nope, that one ain't coming near me either. So as you can tell with Verizon, come on. Type Marco 513 and 66. By the way, you can also notice here on the left, when I click on these towers, they show the region and the band numbers. This particular tower I just clicked on is 513 and 66. We're going to want to remember some of these numbers for the upcoming portion of this. I click on this tower, we have 213 and 66. 66, you see, is a common number with Verizon. Here's 2 and 66. So each one running a different frequency outside of 66, or different channels and bands outside of 66. But when I come back over here, because I'm located right here in this vicinity, if I come back here, I'm going to right click in the field, pick my provider this way because I'm lazy. Now I'm going to pick AT&T right here, Mobility. When I click on this, you can see now the bands are getting closer to me. This one here, it got me. AT&T has coverage over here. They're running bands 2, 12, and 30. Now remember that, 2, 12, and 30. Some of the devices that we're talking about are going to only run one band at a time. Some run multiple bands. Now that we determined, for me, really this scenario is where I would be saying, if I was the homeowner and I went and I bought service somewhere, let's just say I went and got T-Mobile, prime example, okay, or Verizon. I had no signal. I get home, the guy told me, yep, we have more towers than anything in the world. You guys have never heard that, have you? We are the #1 provider worldwide. You're not going to have an issue. And we got the best pricing in the world. Great. We buy the plan, we buy the phone, and we go home, and what? We either have one bar or we have no bars. So this is our lake place. Now what I want to do is if I'm looking for service over here, I'm going to right click on it, select provider. Let's try Verizon. See if Verizon has service over here. Come on. Nope, not that one. Don't do this to me. All right, let's just say our home is right within this cell number 2. You see, our lake place, our cabin, whatever it may be. You might be in Florida. So we found out at home, AT&T worked the best. We found out here, Verizon worked the best. So you see, there is no perfect cell service provider. It really comes down to you need to identify where you need cell service most of all. I need it at home, I need it at work, and I may need it at my vacation places. So then we can get a balance and make some decisions of what we want to do so we can have service at all these places. Yes, you can do that. And we're going to get into that now. So when we start talking cellular service, if it is just phone related, okay, you guys have pretty much, I think, get the gist of this software, cellmappers.net, okay? So we're going to end that right here. You now identified how to find your own cellular service, your towers, search your providers, and figure out who's got the best service for you. Now, you got cell service and you got cell data. Same, under the same umbrella, but technically 2 different entities. If we're only looking for cell service, you're technically done right here, because the rest of this may not benefit you, but it may benefit you, if that makes any sense at all. So, but I'd appreciate it if you continue watching and helping the algorithm, let's just put it that way. And if you're finding that you're going to get value out of this, smack that like button. This is where you would then, and that's all you want, you only have one place you need it, then I'm going to tell you right now, just go to your provider. In this case, it was Verizon that covered this area, so you would go to Verizon and get a Verizon phone and plan that fits your needs. You would have very good service at that point because you fell within that tower. Now, the next step, I have service, I've got full bars at home, but where I work at and where my cabin is at, I get squat. But look it up on the map, figure out which one covers you. When it comes to data plans, and that's really the big key here, because now we're going to get into talking data. And yes, we can still improve our cell service by buying data. Okay, what I actually mean by this is maybe at the lake place, maybe you're down in Florida and you want to bounce around like I'm doing right now. This year, we took our RV and we've headed to Florida. We're on our way to Texas. We're going to be at about 5 different places in Texas. I need phone. I need data. I need to be able to work, or that woman in that camper is going to hang me by my neck, let alone I need to be able to do my job, which is have fun making these videos and educating myself on how to do them. So that's why I appreciate you guys watching these. Now, so if you're looking for data, my recommendation to you will be, believe it or not, is going to be eBay. There are good eBay resellers for data plans that are not from the storefront. See, if you go to the store and say, I want to get a hotspot, I realize I have Verizon, they will sell you a plan. But that plan is going to be 100% throttled. It will have caps, and it will be affected by speed, depending on what program you purchase. When you go to eBay, I am going to have for sure AT&T and T-Mobile down below. I'm going to work on a Verizon one for you as well. AT&T and T-Mobile, both are going to offer 1 week free data, unlimited, non-throttled. That means you get to test it out. Now, I highly recommend you go back and search that map if you have not, to make sure you picked the right card for you, where you're at. It might not be AT&T, it might not be T-Mobile, it might not be Verizon, you may not have anything. and you're SOL. But if it's within 20, if there's a tower within 20 miles of you, the odds are we can get you something. Outside of that, you're going to be on your own. So on eBay, you can get AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile cards unthrottled, uncapped, full priority, okay? In other words, there is no data limit. Right now, I am running on a T-Mobile card in that camper 1 week, and I looked at it this morning. Here's a picture of it. I know I'm over 500 gig. I'll pull it and post it, of data in 1 week. That means that's going to be 2 terabytes in 1 month. That is crazy. Okay, links are going to be down below. Let's get into devices. Some of you, the cell phone is all you need. Some of you, that is not the situation. If you just want to be able to get on your laptop and check emails with your phone, perfect. Tethering is all you need to do. There's all kinds of videos on that. If you're looking for data plans, maybe you're up at the lake place and you would love to have internet there, but I also want to be able to bring my unit with me to work. We can do that as well. Those are going to be called hotspots. Okay? And a hotspot is sold by the provider. Now you can buy those on eBay or Amazon as well. And that truly is my recommendation. These things will price out anywhere from $100 up to, I'm guessing, $500. For me, I would have to have all 3, so that'd be like $1,500. It's just, no, we're not going there, okay? Hey guys, I was just informed. If you want to use the data cards listed below for AT&T and T-Mobile, do not purchase the hotspots that I've been discussing from AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. You will need one of these 2 type of hotspots if this is what you're looking for. These 2 are called true hotspot replacements. This is what they look like. We have a GLEX300 4G unit. They're $130. We also have a GLINet GLE750 for $189. Obviously, the 189 has a bigger battery unit. But both of these units will accept all the Verizon and T-Mobile cards based upon the reviews, as well as they do accept the 2 cards that we are discussing below. Okay, the AT&T and T-Mobile unlimited plans. You know for a fact this is all you need. The hotspot is your best value, but you're going to only want to get 4G. I know there's 5G, they're pumping 5G. If you think you have 5G where you're going to use it, then go to one of the providers' websites. Whether it's AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, look under their home network. Put your address in there, see if it's supported. The odds are not. For me, Verizon was supported at home, and I have that, which I will be canceling when I get home, because the system that I am using today and that I'm going to show you actually outperforms that home network by far. But we're going to kick it up a notch. Maybe you're like I am and you're moving around and you don't want to buy a hotspot for each and every device. Then we need to look at alternatives. Maybe a booster. Yeah, we hear a lot of talk about boosters, don't we? Cell boosters like this one, I bought from Amazon, and I paid roughly $400 for it. I spent more money than was required, and hopefully this is going to help you. When we look at cell boosters, and this one is actually called, I'm going to call it Zoraida. My grammar sucks, folks. I'm going to admit it right off the bat, so it sucks. Zoraida. I'm going to call it that. I know that's not how it's pronounced. But the reality is it is manufactured by HiBoost. And this is what I've learned, and this is what caused me to return it and go down a different avenue. And I finally got it locked on one day. But it took me a full day. It can be off by 1/4 of an inch. And your signal strength is not much different than what your phone strength is. See, here's my phone strength, and here's my cell booster strength. I'm going to put them side by side right here on the screen. Okay? Not a huge difference. not for $400. I got irritated enough that I pulled it down and I started researching more why this is. Here's what I found out. Let's take a look at the bands. Control F, type in bands, here we go. As you can see by High Boost, the cell phone booster supports all cellular devices on all U.S. mobile carrier networks, including Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Straight Talk, U.S. Cellular, and blah, 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 are supports. They all support bands of 12, 17, 13, 5, 4, 25, 2. They provide your home a powerful mobile network signal anywhere. So would you not agree they're only covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands? Very interesting. The difference in channels in a hotspot on steroids versus a booster. You see, if I go into my MoFi hotspot on steroids, band 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 32, 34, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 46, 48, 66, 71. I think that should be enough bands for any of us. There's a thing called multi-band, and that is when your hotspot goes out, it finds the cellular tower that's closest, it's able to grab that signal and bring it in. That tower may have bands 2, 12, and 66 as a prime example. Maybe it's got 2, I have seen 66 and 41 as a prime example. There's 3 bands that hotspot's able to pull in at one time. Booster cannot do that. A booster's only grabbing one of those bands. You see, on this booster right here, come back here, look at what it's on. Whatever signal's on the 2100 megahertz is what it's going to pull. Here's a problem. I'm not positive. I can go look it up, and so can you. Go Google megahertz or bands and megahertz, and you will see what bands run on what hertz, okay? Here's the problem. You're running band 800. This is set to band 2100. You're not going to get any service, folks. This is only able to do one frequency straight out, period. So for me, that is too much dicking around to be doing. So therefore, I packed up the box and I returned it. I reached out to Mophie because I was having signal, or it really wasn't having signal issues. I had fantastic uploads and downloads where I was at with no signal. We're going to be talking more about that when we hit the antennas. But I was running into a latency issue, and I got a good education on it. In the process, I decided, you know what? This unit's working great. Maybe I should get 5G. And this is why I'm telling you, don't get 5G. There's too many changes coming right now. This came from MoFi, and I verified it by Verizon tech support. And I don't know why I didn't grab my glasses this morning. I'll just read it. I think we have a little bit of a language barrier, because I told him I'm thinking about maybe just sending this unit back and getting the 5G. And his response is, hello, this is not a 5G router. However, 5G is a mess right now. Every 6 months, this is a new generation. There is a new generation of modules modules for 5G that are being released. Now I'm changing some of the words because he says that is better. So there's new modules for 5G that are coming out that are better. Now they have the X62 and X65 chips out. Now they will have the X62 and X65 chips out in the next 6 months. They are going to have the X70 following, and who knows what comes after that. These new X65 and X70 chips all have AI in them. What the hell is this AI stuff? I see it on TV now. It's like it's taking over the world. It's like become the best tool to mankind. It does a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with. Just saying. I got a pretty good idea what it is, but I don't know. Time will tell. I think some of the stuff we're getting too carried away with them. As things are going to really take off with AI in the coming months. Light is fine. 4G service is perfectly fine. Today, the only big difference you're going to have between 4G Lite and 5G is latency. There's some light speed differences, but very minute. Your best value is still 4G for data. As such, we would recommend that you use the 4G Lite router. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. So I reached out to Verizon and I got the same answer. Basically that the X65 chips are coming out, X70 chips that are coming out, which means all these, what the heck is crawling on me? Damn ant. Excuse me for that. Which means if their 5G and 6G are going to be, yep, you heard me right, running the X65 and X70 chipsets, the hotspot I would buy today would no longer be any good or improve. That's a problem. And this is why I'm telling everybody right now, based on what I'm being informed on, 5G, as much as I like it and as much as I want to use it, one, there's not enough on the towers. They're not pushing it hard. Okay, 6G is going to be following within the next 2 years. And that's some speeds that will blow your guys' mind. Starlink can't touch this, okay? Enough said. With where I'm at, I want the absolute best data I can get, which is leading me to what I call hotspots on steroids. All right, let's start with the entry-level home units. One of these does not accept antennas. That'll be the Cuddy AC 1200 dual band. It's unlocked 4G Lite modems. These are units that you would set on your desk at home and use the 4G cards that are listed down below. If you happen to have pay by the month, T-Mobile or Verizon, any of those cards, they still will work in these based upon the reviews. To me, I would have to say I would go with the GLX 750 version 2. And that one, because it will accept a 2x antenna. And my recommendation, if you're going to do an external antenna, which I think is very smart, is do the dipole for the $98 listed right here. This is what it looks like. And I'll have that link down below. You put these two units together, you're probably okay. It's the basic, it gets you started, you get a good feel of what's going on. The Wi-Fi on steroids, those really are next level units. The average homeowner probably isn't going to need them. So, let's talk about Wi-Fi on steroids now that we went over these two entry-level units that do accept the SIMS cards that are listed down below. You have the MoFi, looks like this. You have the PetWave, which looks like this. You have the InstiConnect, which looks like this. There are multiple. Cubby 4G looks like this. Okay, they're all out there, and the pricing ranges anywhere from $200 up to $1,500 for these units. I did the Mofi 4G, and I spent $500. Right across the board, I'm done. I have the unit in the RV behind me, and I'm going to show it to you. Perfectly fine. I picked up signal. 90% of you, that's all you're going to need. But if you're a gamer, or if you're doing a tremendous amount of workload on it, then that's a different ball game. Then you're going to want to get an aerial antenna like what you see right here that I'm using. That is called a dipole antenna. It's a straight antenna permanently mounted on the back of my camper, okay? That shoots out a complete radius around me as far as it can, which is nothing in my way. It can make 5 miles. Things in my way, it's probably closer to 2 miles, maybe 2.5. I'm picking up signal. I have, without my bidirectional antenna is what I call it, I still had 100 meg down with about 10 meg up. 90% of you, that is perfectly fine. That'll get you what you need. But I'm too greedy. I need it all. I want it all. So, what can I do? I went with the next step up. Incidentally, this $89, if you want to try a dipole antenna, this one comes with everything. You can actually go back and buy the Hotspot antenna hookups. They connect to this dipole. So you can stick, maybe inside the home you only have 1 bar. Outside the house you have 4 bars. Take this dipole antenna, connect it to the outside of your house, run the cable inside. Now, it's okay cable. It's nothing great. And you can upgrade that antenna cable to, I believe they call it 240 MB, I don't know. I'm going to have a link down below, which is a chart and explains them. What comes on this is what they call a 58 something or another, all right? It's okay. The 240 is much better, and then they have the 400, I don't know, it's a 400 something type cable. That is the cat's meow. That has virtually no data loss coming through it. I chose to do middle ground. What comes with it is the bottom of the top 3 that you could use. It's doing perfectly fine. It's a 15-foot cable. I'm going to change it out and go to the 240 like I have for my bifold, except I only need 12 foot of it because I have it coming up through the light, runs across the back of the camera into the router. That's as far as I need to go with it. Then I have what we call the next one, and that antenna, by the way, was $89. The next one, I run what they call a cross-polarized MIMO antenna. I run the 2x. The difference between a 2x and a 4x is the wires. There's 4 antennas in a 4x versus the 2x. Well, my router is a 4x. My MoFi, which accepts the SIMS cards, is a 4x. I use primary antenna 1 and primary antenna 2 for my omnidirectional. The bidirectional is a cross-polarized. That's my second choice. I chose the $100 2-wire antenna versus the 4, okay? The 2x I hook up in conjunction with my aerial antenna. Bidirectional sends out like a fan. So instead of circling all the way around you trying to find the tower, I can point that antenna somewhat in line with the tower where I think it is, and that thing will fan out and grab the signals and bring it back to my router. The directional antenna is up to 10 miles. The bipolarized antenna is up to 5 and 8 miles, you see? So you want to buy the antenna based upon your distance from the tower. I can tell you we've been hopping around a little bit right now, and those 2 antennas that I'm using are all I need. Now, maybe you're up at your hunting camp. Your closest tower is 17 miles away. Well, I can assure you the bidirectional antenna ain't going to cut it. You're going to have to go to what they call a long-range, ultra-high gain antenna. 28 dB gains. Okay, it'll reach up to 20 miles. If you're running a 2x antenna system and you're that far away, you're going to need 2 of those units. And you're going to have to line each one with the tower to get that signal in there. It's going to be a lot of work, but it can be done. Now that we've talked about antennas, we've talked about the MoFi routers, I am linking all of these devices down below, including this NetBuddy. because I do believe it's a decent unit. And their 5G unit is the same price as the 4G. I've never used it. I hear some good about it. Is it as good? I don't know. I'm pleased with what I got. It does what I want it to do. I won't change it. I do have a neighbor gentleman over here that is running the PetWave. He put a tremendous amount of money into his PetWave system. Okay? He's got pretty much the same results I have. I have a little more control than he has because I manually built the system. His antenna is permanently mounted in his RV. I didn't want that. All right, with that said, I think you guys got the gist of all of this. If you're missing something or I missed something, please tell me down below and I will do an updated video. I am going to do and post all of this stuff over at Let's DIY My Home, which is a brand new website. Now, if you got value out of this thing, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're glad to see you join us. Until next time, you have a fantastic day and God bless you all. Later.